Welcome back to the world's sexiest drifting podcast. Today it is myself, Joshua Leatherbarrow, and my co-host for this wonderful event is Adam Bergner. You're,
Yo,
yeah, you're allowed to talk, dude.
yeah,
It's just a conversation between us. So,
yeah, yep,
some driving by your house?
yeah.
Cause dude,
Big
that
diesel
was
truck.
loud. I'm leaving that in. Fuck it. Uh,
Like a drag strip out here.
oh, sweet. You should actually just do this outside in the cold.
That'd be sweet. Mine's the cold.
So yes, thank you for everybody who watched episode 1. That was pretty cool. We got
Yep.
probably triple the amount of views I thought we were going to get. But everybody who is watching the podcast, go and listen to it and then watch it. Do it both, because the listening aspect is way more beneficial than the watching aspect. But you do you. You can just interact with us. We love you
Yeah.
and thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate all the views,
Yeah, it's pretty
watching
dope.
or listening.
And all the positive feedback that we get, it's dope. It's
Yep.
helpful. We actually want to continue doing this instead of being like, oh, we got to record a podcast today.
Yeah. Motivating.
So this episode is about myself, and then when I run out of stuff to talk about myself, we'll just chat.
Yep.
Uh,
Sounds good.
Adam has some questions for me. If you want to start, or I can start. There's no big deal.
Um, we'll just have you start, and then I'll sprinkle in some questions as we go.
All right. Well, I started drifting in 2014, and that was honestly kind of by accident. 2 years before that, I just needed a car to drive, and I was just searching through Marketplace, and I found this Ford Escort for $300, which it was a like I think '92 Escort GT, which that'll come into play in a minute. And I get it back to my garage. I was like, sweet, this thing runs, it drives. I'm gonna daily the shit out of this. And the guy's like, oh, I'll get you the title tomorrow. And then I'll get you it tomorrow. And then I have to go to the BMV, so I'll get you it next week. And it was like I never got the title for this car. So I'm doing research, and to find out that the 1.8 in this Escort GT is the same engine that's in a Mazda Miata. I was like, oh, Miatas are kind of weird. It's like, I don't know why anybody would want one. Convertibles are dope, though, I guess. So I'm searching Marketplace and Craigslist, and I was like, let's find a Miata. And I find one that's like 20 minutes away, and the guy's like, oh, the engine's blown up. It's going to need an engine. It's like, oh, perfect. This is the perfect candidate for this. I go there. The car runs, drives. Car is a hardtop. It's got a Racing Beat body kit and like lowering springs. It's like, yo, this is going to be dope to drive every day. So I buy this car, and I get it back home, and it just needs a water pump. I pay $600, which, if you know the price of hardtops right now, it's like $2,000 for an absolutely beat hardtop. So I got a hell of a deal. And I'm like, I'm just gonna drive this. It's gonna be dope. And like, I get coilovers for it. I get some stupid steel wide wheels. Like, I'm gonna drive this every day. I don't know, track days sound cool. I'm gonna go drive on track or something. And like the year later, my time frame might be a little messed up. It's 10 years ago. Uh, my buddy Troy is like, hey, there's this drift event called Drift Effect out at Painesville Speedway. It's a competition, man. Like, you want to go? I was like, what the fuck is drifting? I mean, I saw Tokyo Drift. That was a cool movie. We get there, And I was like, I mean, this is cool. And then they're still a team today, but Team Breaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Derek King. Yep.
Yep. Him and one of his other teammates or whatever. There was this Miata and this FDRX7. And this dude just goes out there and just rips in this Miata. I was like, holy shit. I have one of those. Like, I physically own one of these cars. Like, I could be out there doing that. And, like, I get back home and I start researching, and there's this pro driver, Danny George, who's in pro with a Miata. I was like, this could be, like, a thing? And, like, I messaged this dude, and he's like, I am about to release a set of drift knuckles for these cars. Like, you want to buy a set? $300. So I buy these knuckles. So I have coilovers, a set of knuckles, and a very, very basic alignment. And then there was a drift event at Painesville Speedway that anybody could sign up for. This was August 2014. And I've only seen drifting. I've never tried to drift. So I'm there, I unload all my stuff, and there's probably 5 drivers that showed up right at the beginning. And like was ready to go. I was not going to be the first driver to go out on track, but I'll be the second. Like, this looks really easy. So I'm in line. First car goes. Back then they did like 2-minute runs or a minute run. So you'd go out, do your thing, whatever you wanted, then they'd wave you off. And I'm like, I pull up, I'm next to go, and Scott Petty's doing grid. And I was like, hey dude, like, what do I do? He's like, oh man, you just go out there and you just drift. So I was like, okay, cool. So like I go down the straight, like first, second, third, and like I've seen videos on the internet of just clutch kick and you'll start drifting. I kick the clutch on that thing and I end up in the grass. It's like, oh, that was weird. I go out, I keep going. I was like, I seen videos of people doing stuff with handbrakes, so I try that and nothing. And I was like, I'll just accelerate really fast and nothing. Then they wave the flag for me to come off, and I go back around and I get back in line. Then I get up to like do my second lap, and Scott was like, wait, you were serious? I was like, yeah, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. So Scott's there like giving me pointers and stuff. I was like, oh, that makes way more sense than just going as fast as I possibly can. And like, I don't know, I was drifting. I was like doing half a corner at a time, and this car's got 90 horsepower, and my tires are like 20 psi. So I was like super sticky, and I was starting to get it at the end, and I was like, I mean, this is dope, but I'm absolutely terrible at this. So there's that. And then the next event after that was Club Loose 2. I get there and see Midvale for the first time, and I was like, this track is nuts. I might crash my car today. Which...
Now, hold on. Was this the blue Miata, right?
Oh, yeah, blue Miata.
Okay. All right.
That was before anything, like 90 horsepower. And like, there's dudes today who can like air the tires up to like 80 psi and just go rip for a weekend. But back then, dude, like, I was just guessing. There's one pro driver and maybe 3 other dudes in Miatas. It was just a gamble. So yeah, there's Midvale, and then after that event, I was like, yo, all these other dudes got cages in these cars. I only had a roll bar at the time. I find a bolt-in cage for like $300. I buy this cage, put it in the car. The next event is another Painesville, and I show up a little late, and like I get in line to go, and do you remember Dimitri?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he pulls up behind me. He's like, yo, dude, let's tandem. The only thing you need is a cage to tandem. So he's like, yo, dude, let's do this. So I was like, brother, this is my 3rd event. I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, oh, don't worry, man. I'll just follow you. It'll be okay. And, like, I think I connected that track, like, one time that day. So I go, and I'm ripping. I was like, clutch kick into the first corner. He's, like, on my shit. And I spin out in front of him, and we're just, like, nose to nose. It's like, oh, dude. He's like, oh, yeah, You're not very good at this. It's like, yeah, dude, thanks. Then that was the last event that year. So over the winter, it's like, I need more horsepower. We're gonna turbo this thing, but I got like $6. So a buddy of mine was like, "Yo, I got this turbocharger off of a Bobcat." I was like, "Yeah, let's do that." I got a $60 cast eBay manifold. I got a downpipe from a dude who just like gave it to me. It didn't fit at all. So like I had to shorten the flange on it, like the back end, and like it kind of fit. And I was like, no exhaust, because I don't need that. I'll just point it right at my feet under the car. And then we get back, and the first event that year is Paynesville, and I'm driving with this new turbocharger setup, and like I'm getting it. Like the car just drives itself now. And that was like the first event that I met Joe Sansone.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Sansone, Noah Michaels, and Aaron Ashley, the four of us were like, we got this. We're all going to go out in tandem together. Aaron had his, I think it was SR powered, that
S13.
two-tone S13. Noah had
He still
his.
has that, right?
Oh, dude, he went through some stuff to get that car, but yeah,
Yeah.
he has that. Noah had his RB20 S13 Vert, and Joe had a Chaser. I don't know which one, but dude had some money back then. Still has some money, but he had this Chaser. We go out. We start out like good, as good as like there's a gap, like a car gap between all four of us. And then the back, I don't know who it was, but the back two, they spin out. So like, me and Noah are on one half of the track. Aaron and Joe are on one half of the track, and we're doing our own thing. And there'd be a time where like we'd all cross through the center, and like somebody's gonna die.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
we're not ready for this. But yeah, that was the highlight of that event. And that year, I just drove as much as possible. Every event that came out, it's like I'm doing laps. I'm driving absolutely no matter what. Because at the time, I worked at Conrad's in Cleveland, and I was getting tires, brand new tires, for $20 a piece.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
so cheap.
Yeah, so I had $40, and with that kind of horsepower, 150 horsepower, a brand new set lasted me like 2 events. Wasn't making any smoke or anything, but I bought 20 tires. So like I had tires. It's like there was absolutely no excuse not to just go out and drive. And then one of the last events that year was IFD. Not sure if you ever went to one of their events, but it was Matt Knapp's running, and like I don't know, they just convinced us to come out. It was me, Noah Michaels, and our buddy Mitch. And we get there, and like it's a fast, like I think half-mile oval track with like
Yeah.
a straight down the center going from end to end. I don't even know how to explain this. And then like almost a 90-degree turn, and then a straight back, then like an S onto the bank. It was the absolute worst thing to drift, because there was potholes absolutely everywhere. I mean, Matt and his crew did like what they could to like fix all the holes, but like you'd have to put these holes underneath your car. And Darren Rick was with us too. But like we're drifting, we're putting these holes under these cars, and like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, that night there was a Mustang that crashed on track, like midday, and he left it there, just left it on track. Yeah, he like broke a tire out or something. He just left it there. There was no rules here. Just if you crash, just don't die. Oh, and wear a helmet.
Yeah.
But like, the banks were at like a 30-degree like slope, so like you had to like jump onto the bank, It was terrible. And like
Yeah.
these dudes were having like 40 drivers. It was insane.
Wow.
And like there was nobody working grid, so like you wait until the car was at the corner and then you went. And if
Yeah.
they crashed or like spun out or something, just don't hit them. It'll be okay. Just don't hit them.
Sounds like the Wild West for sure.
Dude, it was insane. But like one memorable thing is everybody woke up because it was a 2-day event. We all woke up and go to the drivers meeting, and on one of the picnic tables there was like a red Solo cup, and there was the perfect amount of vomit to the top of this red Solo cup that it had like that bubble.
Ugh.
And it was the perfect amount, and nothing spilled over. Nothing fell out of this. It was just perfect. It was a work of art.
Oh shit.
It was absolutely disgusting, but
I bet. Sounds like it.
after this event was kind of like where Trash Panda started, which I'll get into that in a moment. I forgot a story. We back up like 3 months, and I signed up for No Star Bash for Drift Indy. And
Yeah.
at that time, they were doing No Star Bash at Gingerman Raceway.
Ooh.
And this is my second year. I got a cage in my car. And like I was reading the rule book, and they're like, you gotta have door bars if you're gonna tandem. And like I was tandeming with my boys, not great, but like we were doing okay. So I weld in these door bars, and I can't weld, borrowing a 110 welder from my buddy Troy. And like we cut the notches in, and we realized that the tubes that we bought are like a quarter of an inch too big. There's a massive gap, and we're like, we're just doing it.
Oh
We're
boy.
welding these bars in, and there's like spots that aren't welded, and they look terrible. Like we don't have no fucking clue what we're doing, but the rules say you gotta have door bars, so I'm putting door bars in.
Yep.
Later, when I pulled that cage out, I removed those door bars with a sledgehammer. No cutting, I just hammered them off.
Wow.
Yeah, like if I would have
Not
crashed,
safe.
I would have died.
Yeah, definitely.
But living in Cleveland at the time, and this event was probably 8 hours away. I had a 95 Suburban. So like we packed the boys in. We're going to Gingerman Raceway. We get there. I'm the first person there. Like okay, cool. We'll wait outside for someone to let us in. Get in, set up our thing, and my people just start partying. They just start partying, and like a few hours later, the pits are packed. There's probably 60 drivers at this event, and like I wanted to sleep early, so I go to bed in my truck, and my boys just go mingle. My buddy Ryan, this is important, is wearing a Cummins hoodie and a red pair of shoes. This dude gets so drunk that he doesn't know where his bed's at for the night. So it's probably 1 in the morning, and he's opening people's tents, trying to find his
boy.
tent, and
Yeah.
like he's like rummaging through people's stuff. He was just obliterated. He just wanted to find his spot to go to sleep. So he's like opening tents, seeing people, they're screaming, and like he's like closing the tent, and like he's going to find other ones, and like he went through so many people's tents. Like the next day, he became like a myth. Like at the drivers' meeting, they were talking about this dude. Like, yo, did you see the guy trying to break into tents? Yeah, he had those red shoes on. And like, he was at the drivers' meeting with me, and he's like, I don't remember any of this. And like,
Oh,
the dude never found his tent. He never found home. And it was raining that night
where did he fall asleep?
in the grass.
Oh, been there.
Just slept in the grass. And in the morning, he was like, after the driver's meeting, he's like, yo, I need to use your truck. I need to go buy a new pair of shoes and a new sweatshirt.
Didn't want to be seen.
Yeah, like, he's like, I don't want people to be mad at me. Like, I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously he bought new clothes, and then everybody's partying the next night. We're all in a big circle around a fire, and people are talking about it. He's like, yeah, guys, sorry, that was me. It's like, I couldn't find home.
That's funny.
But then the next night, I thought this event was only like one day. So like we arrived Friday, we drift Saturday, and we were gonna go home Sunday morning. So like
Hmm.
I had no clue it was 2 days of driving. And like my buddy Troy, first thing talks to me in the morning, he's like, yo man, like we gotta hurry up and get home, like I have some family dinner or something to get to tonight. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm packing up, and Edgar comes around on his golf cart. He's like, yo, dude, what are you doing? I was like, what do you mean? I'm going home. It's like, the event's over. He's like, no, dude, it's 2 days. I was like,
Yeah.
ah, dude, like, I didn't know that. He's like, yeah, dude, stay and drift. And my buddy Troy was like, oh, we gotta go. Like, I got this party, or
Yeah.
this dinner. And I was like, yeah, Edgar, like, I didn't know, dude. And he starts, like, screaming at me. He's like, you're gonna fucking regret this. Don't you fucking leave right now. It's like, dude, like,
That's weird.
I want to stay, dude, but like, prior obligations and like screaming
Yeah.
at me as I'm packing up my stuff. I was like, Edgar, dude, like, it's not that big of a deal. Not like
Yeah.
in Gingerman Raceway, if you've seen it, it's like you drive half a mile to a corner, you drift it, and then you drive another half mile to the next corner.
Yeah.
And me with
Pretty big.
150 horsepower and a turbo Miata is like, it was terrible. I hated
Yeah, I
it.
bet.
Like, I wasn't very good at the time, so like I'd do a corner and like I'd go to transition to like Manji down the straight a few times, and I end up 300 feet off the track. Like I'm in the grass and in the mud, dude.
Yeah.
So like I had fun, but like I wasn't having fun. I want to go
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Like we leave. It was cool. 5 minutes out of the place, my truck's like misfiring like crazy. Like, oh, that's really weird. So we stop to get like snacks and stuff and drinks to drive home, and like my truck's cool. I drop my car off at my house, and like I'm going to return this U-Haul trailer, and my truck just dies. Like, oh, that's weird. Then like my truck loses fuel pressure, and we end up putting a fuel pump in this truck on the side of the road. Drop the tank out, put a fuel pump in. Absolutely miserable because this truck's super rusty. Super rusty. And that started like issues I had for years after that. Every 4 months I put a fuel pump in this thing on the side of the road. To the point where like I brought a spare one in my jack with me at all times. Like the truck, it died, drop the tank out, put a pump in, and continue my day.
Wow.
And like I just kept warrantying them. I'd had 2 pumps, I'd leave one in the truck, then like that one would die, I'd warranty out, put that as my spare, and just kept doing it for months and months and months. I was like,
Damn.
there's this truck's like possessed or something. Everybody's like, oh, you look at the wiring or like because you had to put the pump in the sending unit.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, you changed that. I was like, yeah, obviously,
Hmm.
it's just possessed. It doesn't like me. But yeah, after that year, Trash Pandas was formed, and that winter I bought a 1999 NB Miata. And my plan for that winter, because the last Miata I had was super rusty,
Yeah.
and you took a bolt out and like you broke it.
Yep.
So I bought this Miata. I was like, I'm putting my turbo drivetrain in this newer car. Nobody's ever done this before, and it'll be awesome. And
Yep.
Noah at the time was like, yeah, dude, bring both cars to my barn. I'm building this new Pro-Am car, and like we'll work on our stuff every single day, and we'll knock this stuff out. Like, hell yeah, dude. So I put both my cars in this barn, and I had to be there, or he had to be there, to like help me out. Well, not to help me out, just because it was at his house, like, so we could
Right.
like unlock the door and hang out. And we never once did that. So I had these cars just sitting in his barn, and he never brought his car over because his parents owned a body shop which was on the back side of their house. And like this body shop had lifts, it had air, it had heat, and this barn just had nothing. So like
Yeah.
I don't put a car together like that winter. Just nothing happens.
Yeah.
And some stupid drama happens between me and Noah that winter, and he kicks me out of his barn, and like I got nowhere to go. I live at this dude Colt's house, and I don't have a place for anything. Like, he has a
Okay,
garage, but like he has his
what,
stuff.
what year was this exactly?
Oh, jeez, like 16 going into 17, I think.
Okay.
I think because I don't know if I did 2 years in the blue car or if I did 3 years because it was a long time ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was 16 going into 17, or it might have been 15 into 16. But like, I don't build a car until springtime because that's when I get kicked out. And like, thankfully Bryce Lucarelli, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He was like, "Yo, dude, like, we're homies right now. Like, you bring both these cars to my house, and like, we're gonna knock this stuff out." It's like, okay, dude. Like, so I build this entire NB Miata outside at Bryce's house, and like, jeez, I put hood risers on the like hood because that was cool back then to raise up the
I had
hood,
that too.
and like
Yep.
I brought it to my work to get the windshield replaced, and brand new windshield, hood risers. I open the hood for the first time, destroys the windshield.
Oh, that's the worst.
So I was like, God, dude, this sucks. And like a week before, I just put like, let's start it up for the first time, and the oil feed line started leaking. This is very important because it had like a 90-degree fitting going into the top of the turbo, and I had another line, but it had like a straight end on it. So like, I put the straight end like looped onto the top of the turbo, which is like, yeah, that's fine, with the hood risers on. I took the hood risers off. They warranted the windshield, and I loaded up onto the trailer for my first event, which was at Painesville with this brand new car. I get half a lap, and my car is just blowing smoke out the back end. Like, blowing smoke, dude. I pinched the feed line, starving the turbo, and it was just dumping oil into the engine. And I probably burned all the oil in this engine. And like, I was a little dumb back then. And I get back to my pit, and I was like, "Oh, what the heck just happened?" Like, that was a lot of smoke out the back end of my car. And like, I go and feel the water pump, and the water pump's just wrecked. It's like, oh, it's just coolant. Like, I'll go to the parts store, get a water pump, and I'll put it on. So I go to the parts store, grab a water pump, get back, and just a buddy of mine at the time is like looking over my car. He's like, "Yo, you got like inches of play in this turbo, dude." It's like, no. And I look at the oil feed line, and it's just crushed.
Oh.
It's crushed. I was like, that's terrible. So, loaded on the trailer. I was like, I'll put a new turbo on. Everything's going to be dope. And during the downtime, I buy a Mega Squirt. And my buddy Adam, another buddy Adam, was like, "Yo, I'll tune it for you. Like, I'm just getting into tuning. We got this." So I put a eBay turbo on it. Go to tune it for the first time. Engine's knocking. It's like, dope. Dope. So that year I drove one lap. And then it's like, oh, you know what would be cool right now? Let's build a 400 horsepower 1.6 Miata. So I buy rods, I buy pistons, I buy cams. I have Darren Rick build me an intake manifold. Like a giant mailbox intake manifold. And like, this took probably a year at the time. Me and Noah were back being friends. He's like, "Bring it over to the body shop. We'll do it in the body shop." I was like, "Okay, dude, let's do this." Build this engine. I spent thousands of dollars, like coil on plug setup, like huge turbo, like huge. I think I spent like $1,400 on this 3-inch exhaust, and like, I'm building it, and like, I'll cut down the wiring harness, and let's simplify it. Let's take some weight out of it, and go to start it for the first time. Have the like startup tune on it, and it doesn't start. Like, oh, this is terrible. So like I'm going through the harness. It's like it's got to be my fault. It's obviously my fault. And like, nope, nothing. And at the time, like, I was helping Noah do his Pro-Am stuff. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was building this car, but like, all of my time and effort went to like making sure his car was perfect. And like at the
Right.
time, he won LS Fest. He ended up winning or taking second in US Drift, which got him his Pro Spec license or Pro 2 license. And like, dude was just winning everything. And like, it was cool because like, I could take a backseat to my stuff because like he's doing big things and he needs my help.
Yeah.
And then still my car I think is 2018, 2017. We go and uh, go to LS Fest West. Torque Storm Superchargers takes his car out there for free. We go out there and like we take second place in this like just built supercharged like pro spec car. And then right after that event, he's like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm done drifting." Sells it, and he stops talking to everybody. Like
That's so weird.
all his drift homies, he just cuts them off because he met this chick who he's currently married to, and he's
Yeah.
just like, "Yo, like my life is dedicated to this chick, and like we're done drifting. We're done going to events." Like he bought an RX-8 and like tried to drift with that, like a stock one, and it's like it wasn't really working. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm just done." And like we stopped kind of hanging out, and like my buddy Eddie, who like has kind of always been there, was like, "Yo, dude, I just got this shop. Like, bring your car over here." And like I was living in Wellington at the time. His shop was on the east side of Cleveland, so it was like an hour away. So it was super hard to go work on my car. So like the end of that year, I don't know what year it was, but at the end of that year, I was like, "Yo, this turbo setup just isn't working. Like I can't get it to run. I don't actually want to do this." So like I pull it out, and Eddie's like, "Yo, we're gonna make custom subframes for Miatas for LS swaps." Because he cut the front off of his Miata, and like we start building it. I didn't have an engine at the time. He did. So it's like we start making mounts for everything, and it's like this works. Like the mounts are great. At the time, I was like, always knew I was gonna pull the 4-cylinder out and do an LS setup because like the
Yeah.
plan was like Noah and I were gonna have like matching cars.
Yeah.
Like his an S13, mine's a Miata. Both gonna be Torque Storm supercharged. We're both going to get our pro license. We're gonna be pro drivers together and just run shit. And like, obviously he quit, so it's just
Yeah.
me. So it's like, all right, like we're putting this 4.8 in it, sloppy Sage 2 cam. I picked up a CD009 from LKQ for $400 back when everything was like cheaper, and like Eddie made these mounts in the subframe, so we put the engine in, and I was like, we're rear mounting this radiator because it's gonna be a pro car. So I took the not stock, but eBay Miata radiator, laid it flat, put a Taurus fan on it in the trunk, ran lines to it, and it was awesome. That car never overheated. But like that next year, like I ran 8 events with a 4.8 and the CD009, and the car just ripped. And like, sure, we had issues like diff problems because I had to run a Ford diff. It was not
8.8.
no, it was 7.5 out of a Thunderbird,
Oh.
which luckily fit in the 8.8 mounts,
Yeah.
but and like the 8.8 axles fit, and like it was just Eddie had one. He's like, "Yo, dude, toss in this car. Let's just do this." And like the diff sat too low, so I had to remake the mounts halfway through the year, and like the axles would just like pop out of the diff, be drifting, and just poop. Oh, one wheel. But yeah, I ran all year. I was like, I'm putting nitrous on this car for the last event for Midvale's Thrash Bash. I'm putting nitrous on, and we're gonna just blow this thing up. And then I don't know. The end of day one, I break an upper control arm because I had cheap eBay ones. Snaps off and break an axle, and there goes the rest of my weekend. Didn't even get to use the nitrous setup. So like had a full bottle of nitrous, full kit on the car, and just never once used it.
How are you running the nitrous?
On what?
Like a throttle switch or?
No, one of those WinMax controllers. So like you enter your information, like you want it to start here at this throttle and this throttle percentage.
Okay.
And like
Yep.
I was ready for it. I was like, day 2, I'm blowing this thing up, but I want to drive a day. And I break a control arm and just nope. We're not doing cool things on the second day.
Yeah.
And then that was about the time like Trash Pandas kind of fell off because like
Yeah.
Mike was meeting his girlfriend at the time. James was like getting out of drifting at the time, and like Noah had stopped drifting at the time. And like earlier that year, Darren was like, "Hey guys, I quit because the Bloodmasters asked me to be a driver." Like you can't be mad at the dude. That's like
No.
one of the most prestigious teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like Darren, that's cool. Not mad at you one bit, dude. Still friends to this day
no.
because he's one of the coolest dudes ever.
Oh, absolutely.
So that winter, dude, I was like, I come across an LSA supercharger on one
So
of the.
this was 2018 now, the end of 2018,
I'm
right?
99% sure it's
We'll go with
end of
it.
2018. I find
Okay.
this LSA supercharger, and I was like, I'm putting this massive supercharger on my 4.8, and we're making dumb horsepower. And like, it was early in like LSA swap stuff, a little
Yeah.
early, so like there wasn't much stuff to like back it. So you're using like
Yeah.
stock stuff. I was using a stock heat exchanger and like rubber lines, and like I was gonna be super innovative and use my accessory drive because I was already running truck accessories, and like
Mhm.
LSA like supercharger pulley is on truck spacing. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna add a pulley to my power steering bracket, and I'm not gonna have to spend a bunch of money.
Right.
And like I'd do an event, halfway through my belt would launch out of the car. It'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. Put the belt back on, get a lap in. I'd be chasing behind someone, hit limiter, belt would launch off. Like all year that year, was just launching belts off. No, we're a little ahead, I think. I think this is 2018.
Okay.
I think this is 2018. And
So
like
what made you want to decide to go with the LSA over a Torque Storm?
money,
Having prior Torque Storm, you know.
at this time, like Torque Storm hated Noah.
Okay.
Like,
makes sense.
They're pretty
did
much
talk to him
like
and
enemies,
They
dude.
brought it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like you said, you just talked to him not too long ago, and they like
Yeah.
they hate this dude. Their original
they
agreement
did.
was like, you get a Torque Storm supercharger, and like after the year, you send it back, and we're gonna see how much damage you did to this thing. Then we'll swap it out with another one, and you just keep running it. You're gonna be our test dummy, and like you stop driving, you send it back to us. Like it's free,
He did.
but you just don't get to keep it.
Right.
Which he ended up
Just
selling.
fair.
He ended up selling that drivetrain out to Andrew Brocone,
Yeah. Yep.
which he might still have it. I don't know. That dude's
He does.
a mystery. But
He
yeah,
does.
like the LSA, I paid shipped to my house just for the core, like just the supercharger unit itself. I paid like $1,200 shipped.
Oh wow, that's cheap.
Yeah,
That's
and like
a really good deal.
someone local to me had a lid and a heat exchanger for $200,
Okay.
and then I bought a set of injectors locally for like $60. And all
So
I
you pieced
needed.
it- yeah, you pieced it together pretty
Yeah,
cheap then.
so like
yeah.
I spent like $2,200 or something on this full supercharger setup, and I'm gonna cheap out on this belt system.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, around that time, like midway through jeez, my time's all messed up. Yeah, okay, that year, just drove, and like none of those setups were working. Just didn't
Mhm.
work. And like Jerry Daggett helped me try to like brace the bracket, and just didn't work at all.
Yeah.
Then the like next year, I kept trying it, and like it kind of worked. If I kept it off limiter, it wouldn't launch off, I got some super fancy tensioner for the belt, and like it kind of worked. And at that time, I was trying to like bring up Trash Pandas. This is like 2019 now.
Yeah.
And like I just moved back to like Buffalo to live with my parents. And like we're gonna put liveries on all these cars because Mike, Noah, and James aren't driving anymore. So I picked up Brian O'Connor, my buddy Nick Halvox, which is kind of on our team now, and Jerry Daggett. I was like, I'm putting all these dudes on the team, and we're gonna just party. Get this livery designed from Joe Sansone. My car, Brian's car looked freaking insane, dude. If you've seen it, they looked insane. Had the car painted black. Like, Nick's was printed. It's still printed and not on a car somewhere. I think it's in his closet somewhere. So, like, we're going to have a matching team. And then LSX Concepts comes out with this belt setup for my supercharger that, like, it's impossible to launch a belt because there's, like, a brace on the outside.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, I'm buying this. And then the Bloodmasters were like, yo, dude, come drive our Halloween event. 2019, I was like, absolutely, dude, I'll be there. But, like, I haven't gotten this belt set up yet. I was like, okay. It's like emailing the company every day. I was like, I need this, like, now. Like, I'll pay for overnight shipping. They're like, oh, we already sent it out. And it's like, your website doesn't say what belt I need. So, they're like, oh, it'll be this, this, or this. So I'm on, like, Amazon ordering all these belts, and they're like $50 a piece. And, like, I get it. It's missing washers when I get the bracket. You gotta be kidding me. So, like, I make it work. And at the time, I, like, ripped a brake hose. So, like, I put a new brake hose on. So we go to Englishtown, and, like, I was put into A as long as I had someone to drive with.
Right.
Which, one of the Bloodmasters, Justin, was like, yeah, dude, like, first session, you follow me, like, I'll give you the lay of the land. We'll do this. The belt setup worked perfectly. I go out on track, and because I have the Chase Bays booster delete, my fitting on the line I just put on leaked a little bit. I had zero brakes. And if you know Englishtown, first layout they ran was XDC, and that shit's so fast. And I'm like, do I risk it? I'm behind this dude with zero brakes on a track I've never driven before, and I could die. So I do the smart thing. I pull off track, and I'm like, I'm trying to fix this as fast as possible. But their run sessions are like 30 minutes. So I'm like trying to find this leak. I get it fixed, get it bled. And, like, as I'm going to pull back out on track, the session's over with. Like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, dude. And, like, the next session, they run normal layout. And, like, I go up to Justin, and I was like, hey, dude, like, can we still drive together? He's like, yo, dude, where were you? What are you doing? But no, I'm gonna drive the rest of the Bloodmasters. Like, oh, I don't know a single other person here. Thankfully, Keely Burton was like, yo, dude, I don't have anybody to drive with. You can just follow me. And, like, before he said he could drive together, like, I was doing solo laps, just trying to get the lay of the land. And, like, I didn't know, like, if you were an A group, you ran the entire track. I thought it was just front track. So, like, I'm only drifting the front half. And he's like, yo, follow me. So I'm following this dude, and, like, we do the front half, and he just drives off another, like, path. Like, what the fuck's going on? He's drifting down that way. I was like, I guess I'll follow him. I don't know where it goes. So we do a couple more laps like that, and, like, I was like, oh, we do the entire thing. Cool. And then the next session, I'm driving with this dude again, and, like, 3 laps in, dude spins out in front of me, and I plow into this dude.
Oh.
Like, my car's kind of cool. He hit bash bar. I hit his knuckle and destroyed it.
Ouch.
So, like, it was the end of that day anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna call it quits there. And his car had to be towed off. But, like, it was dope. Like, it was awesome driving with people I'd never driven before. And at the
Mm-hmm.
end of that event, I was like, this Trash Panda stuff just isn't working.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I got Brian, I got Nick, and Jerry would follow along if I wanted him to. But
Mm-hmm.
like, he was just starting his business, kind of doing his own thing. So it's like, on the way home, I'm like messaging everybody. I was like, yo, like, done with Trash Pandas. I quit. Like, we're just done because like none of the
Yeah.
OG dudes are driving, and I don't want to be the dude trying to hold this thing together.
Right. Right.
And it's terrible. I just wasn't having
Yeah.
fun anymore. Like, fuck it, we'll do something else. So me, Brian, and Nick were like, we're starting our own team. It's gonna be dope. We're gonna be the Saucy Boys. So I'm drawing up logos, like advertising and stuff. And Nick at the time, I think he still has it, but he was sharing a shop with a friend of his who does like paint and body work.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brian O'Connor was gonna bring it to Nick's buddy to do some paint work on his car. And on the way there, when he got there to drop the car off, he like took the bash bar off the front of his car and unloaded his car, left it. Well, this is what I'm assuming happened because the bash bar went missing. And I think he left it on his trailer, and when he drove home, it launched off into the bushes somewhere. But Brian was like, yo, dude, Nick, your buddy stole my bash bar. Like, he stole it, and, like, he probably sold it to make money. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, he doesn't even own a Miata. Like,
Yeah.
what? This bash bar, like, didn't fit a bumper. So it's like, what? Why would he want that? And, like, Brian was, like, losing it on these dudes, like, Nick and Nick's buddy was, like, screaming at these dudes. And, like, the team's been alive for 2 months, and these dudes are already fighting each other.
Yeah.
I
Ain't
think
gonna work.
this was like, geez, my time is all messed up. I think, it was 18 when I went to. Now I'm losing it, dude. No, it was. I think it was. I gotta look this up. One moment. One sec. Cause yeah, It doesn't matter what year it was.
Time blends together.
Yeah, it all blends together, and like,
It does.
so we start this team, and like, it's immediately like, these dudes aren't gonna want to be around each other.
Yeah.
So we like disband the whole thing, and like, it's like, I guess I'm back to doing my own thing again. And like,
Yep.
we were just gonna peel Trash Pandas off the cars and just put our logo on.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like, we don't even have a team at all anymore. So Brian peels his off, I peel half mine off. And like, during that winter, like, I meet Rob Campbell and we become like good friends.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, dude, like, come drive with us out at the track, dude. Park with us and like drive, because I got this team hostile and like, pretty dope. So it's like, driving, and then met this other dude, Joe Brown, a newer driver at the time. And like, we're all driving together, meeting up. I think this is 2019 at the time. And like, Rob's like, yo, dude, like, join Hostel. And I was like, I don't know, man. I just got off Trash Pandas, and like, Saucy Boys didn't work. It's like, I don't know if I want to be on a team at this time. And like, Joe Brown's like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe. And I'm talking to Joe. I was like, well, I guess let's just do it. Let's just join this team, dude. What's the worst that could happen? And like, things were cool. Ended up like just hanging out with Rob at his like shop or whatever all the time. And end of that year, which might have been, I don't know, 2020 maybe.
Mhm.
I do this event, and my rear subframe snaps. Install
Okay.
that solid mounted diff and stuff, and like, the subframe snaps. Like, I break an axle. I put the drive shaft through the gas tank, and I was like, man, do I fix this car, or do I start over? So, a few months before this, or no, a year before this, when I moved back to Buffalo, it's like I need a car to drive all the time because my Suburban broke down. Like I was borrowing a car from a buddy, and like for a while I was driving a school bus around, like a short bus, which I
Yeah.
drove through winter, which was terrible. 7.3, glow plugs didn't work, the block heater didn't work.
Yeah.
Like I just daily driving a bus. It's like I need to buy a car. So I went and bought this BMW 135i. It's like it's twin turbo, 6-speed manual. It's gonna be dope, dude. Like I'm gonna daily this thing. I ain't ever gonna need another car or whatever. And like the subframe breaks in the Miata, and I'm just, do I fix this Miata or do I do a full blown pro build on this BMW? And like my plans was to sell the CD, buy a dog box, get a winter's quick change. It's like I'm living at home with my parents. Now all this extra cash, let's do this. And like I rip this perfectly working car apart and spend thousands of dollars on fabrication because built a cage and built a rear firewall, and it's just insane. Paid Derek Ludlow to just mount everything, and I'm building this car, and like at the time nobody made like wide fenders, so like I put this car together, my wheels are sticking miles out from the fenders. Big Duck Club wasn't ready yet, and just, dude, I spent thousands of dollars that winter just trying to build this car. And like all my plans for like the pro stuff just didn't happen. So like stuck with the CD, ended up getting an 8.8 with like $2,000 axles, and this car's dope. It runs great. Still with the LSA supercharger. Just upgraded the cooling a little bit on it. And first event is Lake Erie Speedway, and I'm out there. The car is insanely fast. It's the first time I've ever driven on like 18-inch wheels and massive 18-inch tires. And like I do 2 laps, and like I go back to get back in the grid to do another lap, and my starter is just running. My starter is just running. So like I flip the car off, and it's just running. The starter was on the wrong side of the cutoff switch because I just built the car and I didn't know. So like starter's just running, and like Savannah was at like the fence line right there, and she was like watching Rob drive, and she's like hearing my car just start. She's like, do you need anything? I was like, side cutter. So she runs back to her pit, grabs side cutters, and I cut the main or the negative for the entire car. And the starter ran so long, got so hot, started the car on fire.
Oh.
So like track safety had to come and like extinguish it. It destroyed my chassis harness in the front of the car. And like, dude, I was devastated. I was like ready to go home, push it on the trailer. And Rob was like, yo, dude, like, go pick up some wire. Let's just build a new harness. So I got, at the track, dude? He's like, yeah, dude, like, we'll make it work, whatever. So 3 hours later, like, my car's running and driving again. Because, like, the S-terminal wire, the thing that activates the starter, dropped down because it came loose because the way the harness was ran, and just stayed on the positive, which made the starter just run forever.
Right.
So, like, I used the same starter that was just on fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was still good?
Oh, yeah, dude. It was great.
Damn.
It ran for, like, 5 minutes straight, and it's perfect.
Was it just the stock starter?
Dude, stock, like, truck starter. Just ran.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then finished that event, and, like, next event, they're like, oh, we're going to do, like, a competition. I was like, hell yeah, I'll sign up for it. And at that time, we just added Luke Crane to the team, and Luke was like, I want to do, like, competition stuff. I was like, yeah, dude, come do this competition, dude. It's chill. It's like before Pro-Am was a thing. And, like, somehow there was no like qualifying or anything. They just randomly paired us up together, and my first battle's against Luke, my
Mm-hmm.
buddy, my teammate, and I was like, okay, cool. So I led first, and like, no offense to him, but I like blew the doors off of him.
Yeah.
My car's fast. His car's just an SR car, and then
Yeah.
he goes and he leads, and this dude spins out in front of me, and like, I knew because me and Rob had radios and we were talking to each other, and he's like, "Yo, dude, he was miles back. Just take it easy." So I was like, "I'm gonna give him space," and like, I was too far back. He spun out in front of me, and dude, it was either plow into him or try and sneak behind him. And they had the Jersey barriers like at the line for the edge of
Mm-hmm.
the track, dude. And it just, I went hit head first, spun the car around, and the back hit so hard from spinning the car around, it lifted the car off the ground.
Okay,
I
so I actually seen this on your Instagram. I seen the video. I think you should put it in here, but
okay,
that was a wild crash.
all
It
right
was pretty
for
wild.
1056. Okay,
Yeah, that was a wild crash
dude,
for
it
sure.
hurt,
It looked like it.
dude, and like I took my helmet off and like put my helmet aside, and like Rob's on the radio, like, dude, you okay? You okay? Talk to me, talk to me. And I was like, dude, like, I can't. I'm like hurt.
Yeah.
And like track and safety comes over and they're like, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm just a little bit in pain. And like, dude, the amount of force from like slamming forward, like it just bruised my chest. And like, this is one of the only laps I didn't wear my Hans device, because once
Yeah.
I got the BMW, I was like, Hans device always. It's like, I'm going against my buddy. What could happen? I won't need this. Luke's a shredder, dude. He won't ever spin out. And like, dude, I slammed my head off the seat because I had a Halo seat, and just, dude, it's
Yep.
terrible. And
Yeah.
like,
It looked hard, man. That was definitely a hard hit.
and it was dumb because I get back to the pits and like I was declared the winner for that, and like
Yeah.
I'm like in the pits. It's like, how can we get this going, dude? Like, I'll cut control arms apart and weld them back together if we have to. Like, what do we have to do? And like, something that still isn't fixed on my car is the toe control arm on the rear is so
Yeah.
close to the secondary caliper, or no, the
Mm-hmm.
primary caliper for the brakes, like the foot brake. Like,
Yeah.
if I crash, that arm rips the line out of the caliper,
Oh.
because that arm is
Man.
meant to bend. Like, if you hit something,
Yeah.
that arm bends. So
Right.
that arm went and slammed into the caliper, ripped the line out, and like I didn't see it at the time, but it bent the shock too.
Oh.
So I was like, I'm gonna bend this arm back, but we didn't have a caliper or a line to fix that caliper. Rob was gonna pull parts off his car to like get it to work. We didn't have enough time, and like we didn't realize that it broke the axle too. And
Oh,
like
wow.
we were like trying really really hard, and just
Yeah.
obviously didn't work for us. Got it
Yeah.
back, and dude, destroyed so much stuff. Like, it destroyed the subframe. It
Mhm.
because the mounts on it, if you look at a E90 E80 fucking rear subframe, the toe mount control arm is like paper thin. And like the dudes in FD are like having to, this is in quotations, relocate the arm just to
Yeah.
reinforce that bracket, because like you tap the wheel, it bends that bracket and not the arm,
Wow.
which it's supposed to bend the arm. That's how Wisefab designed it. It's like it destroys that arm, but
right.
it just doesn't. Uh, so yeah, it destroyed the subframe, the coilover, the line for the brake, and then the toe arm. I get that all back together, and at that time, Big Duck Club was like, "Yo, we got our stuff now." So I buy all their rear quarter panels, their front fenders, put that all on, get them all painted, and it was like, I'm just gonna continue to drive for the year. And then US Drift was like, come to our Pro-Am shootout event. It's like, absolutely. That's what this
Mhm.
car's meant for. It's for Pro-Am, brother.
Yeah.
So, the weekend before that event was uh, Fall Matsuri.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm just going to hang out with the boys. We're just going to drive. In fact, this is the event that I met Austin at.
Okay.
Like we became homies at this event, and just we're talking because at the time he had a TI, and it had this goofy like convertible top type of thing on it called the
Mhm.
California top. It's like
Yeah.
the whole roof of this car retracted. I was like, these cars are so dope. Like,
Yeah.
tell me about this, dude. And like, we talked for like forever on that. And after that, he's like, yo, dude, like, can me and my boys like get rides with you in your team? I was like, absolutely. So his boy George gets into my car. I don't know where he was or what his friends were at, but like, it was Rob, Joe, me, then Savannah, and like we're cruising, and the second I like launch the car to go down the straight for the first corner, the diff falls out of my car. The
Oh
rear
my
mount for
god.
the 8.8 like broke all the bolts, and it's dragging on the ground. And like I go to pull to the center of the track, and I don't know what Savannah was doing, dude, but she just booped, like plowed into the back of me, like crashed in the back of my car. And like
Yeah.
I stop and like looking at my mirror, and she's like, "Oops." She might have not been like that, but like they still had the front mount and the axles were still cool. So like I drove it off track,
Yeah.
and like I got back and I was like, I need some bolts because like the mount like sandwiches to the subframe.
Yeah.
It's like I'll just put new bolts in. We're gonna be cool. So like I get new bolts in. Like if I would have drove maybe another 50 feet, it would have worn a hole through the cover of the diff and wrecked that diff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. I fixed it, and like they were done driving. It's like I just want to get some laps in. Like my car broke, I missed a whole session, so let's go out. Let's do some laps. And I'm driving with I saw Jacob Schuster out there,
Mhm.
and this was before he was doing pro am stuff. And I was like, I'm impressed with you, dude. Lately, like let's get some laps in. I think this was like B. I was in B, and like his boy Lucas Gilson was driving with him. So I was like, the three of us driving together. I wasn't really caring about Lucas. Like, he did what he did. It's like I'm only driving with Jake, and like Jake pulls off track, and like I get back in line. It's just me and Lucas. Lucas leading, I'm following. It's nighttime. Track's not really lit up, and this dude spins out in front of me, and I plow into him. And you know that,
Noticing a pattern here.
dude. This is part of my bad luck streak.
Yeah.
There's
Sounds
there's
like it.
still more. There's more bad luck that we will talk about. I hit this dude. It wrecks the control arm, the toe arm. It destroys that line going into the caliper.
Mhm.
And next weekend is U.S. Drift.
Yeah.
And this is at the time where like, yeah, the Eurofighters were kind of popular. Like,
Mhm.
and like, Feel was like stocking wise fab parts a little bit,
Yeah.
but nobody in the States had that arm. Like I could have paid someone a lot of money to take the one off of their car, but like
Mhm.
I could not get an arm in that week. Just wasn't possible. So
Damn.
I had to miss out on an event, dude. Which instead of that, I was like, "Hey Rob, you're supposed to come with me to this event, so like let's go visit my cousin in Philadelphia, dude. Let's just make a weekend of it, dude."
Yeah.
And like we see my cousin Ethan for a little bit. It was awesome, dude. Love that kid. Me and him are like 2 weeks apart in age, so like
Yeah.
we're just bros for life, dude. One of the
Mhm.
best dudes I'll ever know. But like after that, I was like, we should go at least see the event, see what we're missing out on. And it's like, let's go to Atlantic City,
Mhm.
and because we got this rental car, because why not? We pull up into Atlantic City, like on like the main road there. We look to our right, and there's just a dead homeless person on the side of the road.
Wow.
Yeah, just a dead person on the side of the road. A bunch of other homeless people standing around, and we look behind us. There's the ambulance coming to like pick up this dude. It's like, what is this trip, dude?
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then next year, I'm still with Hostel, and we're the Big Indians becoming a thing. Like they're growing at
Mhm.
this time, and like this was I never drove it on the original setup because they just had like a square, big square. Once they added their addition, I was like, that's when I'll go. It's like a 10 or 20-foot extension. Like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna rip this, and like, I get there, I have the loudest car, I have the most like pro-looking car, and like everybody's like, go drive right now. Like, the crowd needs to see this. Go right now, and like, I do one lap, and the entire place comes and walks up to me, and they're like, who are you? Like, you haven't been here before, right? Like, this car's so cool, and it's like, I mean, it's cool, yeah, but, and like, I worked out an arrangement with, I'm not even gonna mention this, never mind. And like, I was given incentives to keep coming back, and like, kept getting incentives, and like, kept getting incentives, and like, Rob, Savannah, and Joe were like, not getting these incentives.
Right.
And like, I almost was like feeling bad in like our group chats. They're like, oh, we don't want to go because we're not getting the same incentives you are. Like,
yeah,
why would we go? Like, I was like, because it's fun. It's like, it's close. It's like,
yeah,
it's 7 minutes from my parents' house. It's like, absolutely. Like, let's go drive, guys. Let's go do this. And then, I don't know, they had one of their big 2-day events or whatever.
yeah.
And like, I'm just doing laps out there, doing laps. And this was like the first time Amy went anywhere to like see me drift. And, like, this is my first lap out, and like, Amy, before you get in the car, like, I'm gonna do a solo lap. I'll come back. I'll grab you. And like, I'm driving, and underneath the hood, and then the one small hole by my shifter, flames. Massive flames shooting out of the hood and my shifter hole. I was like, what is going on, dude? And like, I don't stop. I drive off track to where their hose is. I grab the hose, start spraying it out, and I'm like, open the hood, and just huge flames. Car's like literally on fire. If I would have left it on track, this car would have burned to the ground.
Yeah.
And like, Savannah comes over with her fire extinguisher. I had fire suppression on the car. Since I have a cheap kit, it didn't work. Did not put out the fire. It's like one of the like $400 kits. Do not get those. They are terrible.
Yeah.
They just don't work. I pulled the handle. I'm holding it, and just I see the foam and stuff come out, and just nothing, dude. It was so stupid. Like, glad I spent all this money and all the time routing this stuff. Yeah, like the
it's
fire
like a tank wasn't big enough or something.
Yeah. And like, what had happened was, I had stock fuel rails, stock injectors, and stock LSA injectors, and stock LSA fuel rail. The injectors are supposed to have clips to hold them to the top of the rail. And like, I never put those clips in. So the injector dropped out of the rail, so straight fuel pressure, straight onto my exhaust.
Oh.
And just lit it up,
bad.
dude. And like, my Holley wiring harness is still burnt to this day. And like, there's still like burn marks to this day. And like, all it did, like the main damage it did was injector 1, like it destroyed like the wiring there, and it destroyed my alternator. Because the Big Indian Drift Pit is also a CarQuest. Eric was like, yo, come with me. What do you need? Grab it. Take it. Like, we're getting your car ready. So I was like,
That's
okay,
awesome.
that's dope. Cool. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
And, yeah, dude, like, next year, like, I think I might have driven there 1 or 2 more times. Because, oh yeah, this event was, like, our King of the Pit.
Yeah.
Like, we were running the event, and, like, I didn't really need to drive or whatever after that. So, I got it fixed. Drove for, like, their Sunday test and tune day. It was cool. Car's still almost the same as it was then.
Yeah.
And then this next year, like, I do Pro-Am and stuff, and, like, I just have bad luck, dude. Like, around... Oh, we're not even talking about Riverside, dude. Oh, we gotta go back to that.
Yeah.
I sign up for... This is when Riverside was just, like, their solo event, the last solo event they did.
Yeah.
And it was all part of my bad luck. I go out And, like, I'm practicing, and I lose. Uh, shit. I lose alternator.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's weird. And I have electric power steering, so, like, it's getting really twitchy. And, like, I find out that it burnt the end on, like, where the alternator is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it burnt that end, so I crimped it, put a new end on, and I go out for qualifying.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, my laps were insane, dude. Like, I was putting down, like, 90 point plus, like, runs. And I go, I'm doing my burnout for qualifying. I pull the handbrake to spin the car around, rips the mounts off the trans tunnel. So I'm
Yeah.
holding the handbrake in my hand that I absolutely need for the last corner. Because, like, I
Yeah.
was using the handbrake to, like, drop me back into the zone.
Yeah.
And, like, I absolutely needed it. Like, I go out and, like, the first outside zone, perfect, money. Inside zone to the outside zone, money, perfect. Last outside zone, miss it completely. I don't have the handbrake. So I
Yeah.
got a 72, I think, which put
Yeah.
me in to, like, the losers bracket. Everybody, the last, like, 10 or whatever, 15 or whatever, like, if you got a low enough score, you had to go again. And, like,
Yep.
I got my handbrake kind of fixed, and I got, like, a higher score, but, like, it didn't matter where I was then, because I'm going against some really good drivers,
Yep.
because my qualifying score is so low.
Yep.
And then the car, like, we fixed the handbrake, it's kind of working, and then I go against Ben Julian in the top 64. If you know him, super fast
yeah.
Miata dude.
Oh yeah.
And, like,
Yep.
my lead run, insane, dude. No, I followed first, obviously, because I was lower. And, like, going to the first corner, I should have just, I was, like, my car's way faster than his. So I was, like, blowing up, like, into him. And, like, I just needed to, like, tap the brakes to slow down a little bit, pull the handbrake. He pulls, like, a 2-car gap on me. Because I, like, park it there. I don't straighten or anything, but, like, park it. And, like, because of that, you got the advantage. And then I go to do, like, my lead, look at my alternator voltage.
Yep.
Nothing, dude. I got nothing. So I have no power steering.
Yeah.
And then obviously I put down the best lead I could. I DB'd a tire coming onto the big bank. And then obviously he won, and we left early, and I got sad. But because of that, like, I was like, I'm taking this electric power steering out. And Pro-Am for the next year, for, like, their big money 32 event, the first time they did it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm putting stock pump in, stock line, because it worked, like the one from BMW, and it's going to be perfect because it's OEM and it works with my accessories, and, like, this is going to be perfect. And, like, I didn't attach the power steering line low enough to the, like, the rack, so it popped out of the one zip tie and rubbed on the crank pulley, and it rubbed the exact second I went to go enter into the big bank at, like, top of fourth gear. And Gary is in my car, and, like, I do this absolute dog water initiation and drift, and I get back, and he's like, yo, dude, what was that? Like, Gary, I ain't got no power steering. And, like, because it's an OEM line, and I got one, just a brand new one from someone who just had one.
Yeah.
And, like, that was the only one that existed in 500 miles.
Wow.
So I was shit out of luck. So I couldn't drive. And then the next event, it was, I put an AN line on it. Everything was cool. I go against Taylor Braun, which I've showed you this video. And, I don't know who led first. I think I led first. Put a good, like, 75-point run down. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And then he goes to lead, and we launch. He misses his first to second shift, and we coast. If you watch the video, he is off the throttle for, like, 2 to 3 seconds. And because of it, I don't have enough speed to do the first corner correctly, so I have to choke up on that. the second corner correctly, and like I'm getting enough speed at the third that into the last outer zone or whatever, I go 4 tires off, just because my speed was so weird, and I was playing catch up, and like I don't know, he just because he was going slow too, he led me into like the wrong places. Like
Yeah.
I was probably front wheel the door on his car, but like because he was in the wrong spot, it put me really into the wrong spot.
Right.
And like we get the call, and like he got the win on that, and it's like, how does he get the win when he like just didn't move off the line? Like, how is that possible? Like, how did he get the win? Like, I protested it, and at the time you had to pay $100. It's like
Yeah.
no acceleration in an acceleration zone, or a deceleration in an acceleration zone, and they just kept my money. I don't think they even looked at it, dude.
Probably not.
So that was lovely, and then
Yeah.
we go, and then the next year, this is my last year on Hostel, is
Mhm.
not last year, not 24, but 23.
Yep.
And then 23, like, dude, it's just more terrible shit. Just,
Mhm.
I don't qualify, or like, something stupid happens, and then skip all that year, skip all the pro-am stuff. It doesn't really matter. Uh, we get invited to Bloodmaster Invitational.
Mhm.
Like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back between me and that team.
Mhm.
We drove, we got there, it was cool. The next morning, everybody was just like grumpy and like just mean to each other. So
Yeah.
they're like, hey, we're gonna go, because this was like a costume party kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And like, we're gonna go get costumes and stuff. I was like, okay, like, I'm not gonna go, just you guys go, because I don't really want to deal with you guys right now. Just if you find something, grab me something.
Mhm.
And like, they leave, and like, all my stuff was in Joe's RV. He locked the door and took the keys. Like, my keys for my truck were in his RV,
Yeah.
so I couldn't leave. I couldn't access any of my stuff, so I just had to hang out while they were gone.
Yeah.
While they were gone, they ended up like buying steaks to cook over the fire that night. Didn't
Yeah.
buy me one. They bought costumes for everybody but me.
Jesus.
So yeah, that was cool. And then like that day for practice was like, oh no, the first day, because we arrived Thursday night. Friday was just like a hang out with everybody, go drive the kart track.
Yeah.
Like, that was dope. And like, Rob just put the LS6 in his car, but didn't have cooling
Mhm.
fans, so like he could do a lap and then have to wait and sit for his car to cool down.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just terrible. And like, Savannah didn't want to really drive, so she hung out at the trailer, and like she'd come down gradually to drive, and like, I don't know, Joe didn't really drive very much, so like I'm driving with dudes I don't even know. Like, I couldn't even tell you their names today. I was driving with randoms, and like, it was cool. I had a great time. And then like that night they had their like Bloodmaster party or whatever. So like, we all hung out. We didn't really talk to anybody, which was stupid. It was terrible. Like, we didn't talk to anybody. Like, I talked to like some of the dudes I knew, but like we all just sat in the corner and just didn't do anything. It was just awkward.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, super weird. So like, then we went back, went to bed. Then the next day was like competition day on the stadium, which for that, we had to be down there for on the stadium track for drivers meeting. Like, me and Joe were there. Rob and Savannah weren't until like the end of it. They just didn't want to go or whatever, which
Yeah.
is super weird. But like, that day it rained, dude. It rained heavy, and like,
Yeah.
our cars were supposed to stay at the stadium,
Mhm.
like to be on display, and like, it was only mine and Joe's car down there. Rob and Savannah kept their cars up at their trailer on the road course. I was like, that's weird. Like, and then Joe
Yeah.
like went back and like hung out at his RV and left his like took his car too. So it was like just me hanging out in the rain in our pit spot by myself. And
It's
like,
terrible.
yeah, and then later they all come down, and here's where the wonderful drama ensues. Uh, Rob brought his pop up tent, and
Mm-hmm.
the event they gave us a flag.
Yeah.
He attached the it's like a pennant flag. He attached the flag to the pop up tent, and then went back to his trailer. So like, his car was there, my car was there. He went back with Savannah or Joe or something, and like, it was so rainy and windy that the wind took this pop up tent, flipped it over the fence into like an LKQ into their
Mm-hmm.
lot, which was closed. All the gates were locked, and they have like motion alarms or something. That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's like, oh, what the hell do we do now? Rob comes back, sees it over there. He's like, oh, we're just gonna leave it. It's like, there's nothing we can do. We're just gonna leave it. I was like, what? Sounds terrible. I was like, hey, Joe, because he was using like ratchet straps to like put a tarp over his car. Give me one of
Yeah.
those ratchet straps. I'm fishing this out.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I use two ratchet straps tied together, like a cowboy or something, and I flip it over, get it to wrap around itself, and I pull it back over the fence. So I take the flag off this pop up tent, roll it up, put it in my truck.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing I remember about this. And then took his pop up tent, threw it out, and then it was like our practice, and like they were in the pouring rain. They were terrible. Like, there's probably 6 cars between the 3 of us, because Rob wasn't going to be in it. It was just going to be me, Joe, and Savannah. And like, it was terrible. Like, I get it, it was in the rain and it sucked, and like, I was just super frustrated because like they didn't want to be down at the track and
Yeah.
like doing what we're supposed to doing. And I was like, man, like, do you guys even want to be here? Like, you guys even gonna try? And she's like, if you don't like it, you can go home. So I was like, I will go home. So like, I get in my car, I drive back to my truck, and I was like, I can't be that guy right now. So like,
Yeah.
I go back. We got our like qualifying spot or whatever. Like, we go out for our first lap. It was Joe, or I was like, I'll lead first, and then Joe, and then Savannah, and like, it's like, guys, it's wet, so like, stay close. I will drive as physically slow as I can,
Mm-hmm.
and like, launch into the first corner. I'm literally like holding the wheel, standing on the brakes while accelerating, like standing on the brakes, so my car's doing like 4 miles an hour, and like Joe's kind of close, and then by the time we're like midway through the center of the 8, that's when Savannah enters. Like, she's so far back, and like,
Yeah.
anybody who wants to like come at me for saying these negative things, like, I have video. Like, this shit happened. Don't
Yeah.
at me. Like, this shit actually happened. So we get back, and I was like, yo, like, Savannah, you gotta lead. Like, you're super slow. You're not really, I'm not saying you're not good in the rain, but like, me and Joe are like better experienced at it. So like, you lead, and like, we'll just follow. So it was like Savannah, Joe, then me. Or maybe I was in the middle, I don't know. But we go, and like, she enters, I enter, Joe enters, whatever. It's cool, and then she like straightens through the center. And like, at the end of the run, like, she like wall taps it, like, at the end, and like,
Mm-hmm.
that is the only reason we got points and didn't come in last place, because
Really?
the crowd thought it was insane,
Yeah.
and like, it was dope. So I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
We did beat both Bloodmaster teams, so that's cool, because both teams got zeros.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, the crowd loved that. They loved that they got nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was after that. I just went back. We all just kind of like went to bed. And the next day, they're like, if you have a cage and pass Club Loose rules, you can drive. You can tandem on the road course. If you don't, then you'll just have to solo laps or whatever. So like, we go out there, and I'm just like last time I was on the road course. I go to take off, and all the bolts for my right axle break on the diff. All of them break, and then I limp it back into the pits. So I get back, and I was like, I can go buy new bolts, or I can load up and go home and drive in the day and not drive at night. So
Yeah.
Joe finishes out the session, and I wait for him, and he's like, yeah, dude, like, I'm going to go home too. And, like,
Yeah.
so me and Joe leave early. Rob and Savannah, like, stay there. And, like, we get back home, and, like, I message Joe. I was like, Joe, like, I don't want to do this hostile thing anymore. Just all we do is fight. Like, even in our group chats, all we do is fight. Like, someone ends up leaving, and then, like, just dumb stuff. So, like, I'm going to quit, and, like, hopefully nobody's, like, mad at me for it. And, like, I messaged in our group chat. I was like, hey, guys, like, this isn't really working for me. So, like, oh, before I even quit, Rob messages me. He's like, hey, dude, you got that flag? And I was like, yeah, maybe, dude. Like, it might be in my truck. Let me go check. And because I was just so fed up with them, I was like, turned my phone off for 24 hours. It's like, I'm so sick of them right now. Like, so sick of fighting and all that stuff. So, turn my phone off, and then I turn it on 24 hours later, and, like, I have a voicemail from Rob. It's like, yo, what? And I listen to it, and it's along the lines of, like, you're a piece of shit. We know that you have that flag. Like, why are you trying to steal that from us? It's our flag. The fuck is wrong with you? Just stuff like that, just motherfucking me, screaming at me. And it's like, brother, like, I'm part of Hostile too. Like, who dictated that you get this flag? I'm not sure if you remember, but, like, I was the one who fished it out from where it was. Like, I did that. Like, I saved it. If nobody did that, like, nobody would have this flag. So, like, I feel like I'm kind of entitled to it. And, yeah, and then I went back to the group chat, and after that I was like, yo, like, I'm done fighting with you guys. Like, I'm going to do my own thing now. I quit. And then, like, I got another voicemail from Rob. Motherfucking me again. And then he just blocked me on everything. And to this day, I'm still blocked from him. Because I quit. And, like, I'm not mad at these people. Like, to this day, I still talk to Joe, like, all the time. Like, always checking up on, like, how his son's doing. Like, I'm always going to be friends with Joe, but, like, I was trying to still be friends with these people, but, like, they went so, like, violent and aggressive with it that it's like, I can't be friends with you people.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid, but, like,
I get it.
Like, obviously, I'm only saying, like, the bad things, but, like, there's good memories with these people. Like,
right.
But this isn't about good things that happened.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say if, like, today, like, they called and, like, just wanted to talk with something, like, I'd answer. Like, I wouldn't be a dick or whatever. Like, I'd answer. I'd talk to them. There's no doubt about that. But then after that, that winter, like, I made a joke post. Not really. I made a joke post on Facebook saying, like, hey, I need a title sponsor for next year. Like, anybody want to hook your boy up? And Vinny messaged me. He's like, yo, dude, like, let's talk. It's like, dude, I wasn't actually, like, serious about that, but it's like, yeah, I got this shop, Full Lock, which I'm wearing the shirt for.
Oh, yeah.
I got this shop, dude. Like, anything you need, I get parts at discount. Like, I'll give you at my cost. Like, you can mount tires here. Like, you can use my lifts. And I was like, dude, like, yes, like, absolutely. Like, that's what I need, because I can't really work on my car at my work. I can, but it's a nightmare. And, like, so, yeah, I got this title sponsor, and, like, me and Vinny just become friends, dude. Like, I'm messaging this dude, like, every single day. Like, every day. And, like, we're talking about all these events we're going to go to, and, like, we just became homies, like, instantly, dude. It just worked. And I convinced him to do Pro-Am last year, because he was like, I don't know, man. Maybe he'll do one round. Maybe I don't know. And, like, dude comes out first round, takes, like, 4th place. Like, brother, like, do the series. Like,
Yeah.
Like, if there's no spots, I'll see what I have to do to give you mine because I was eliminated. Or, no, back to my bad luck. Round 1 last year, I I go out and I accelerate and my car's just vibrating like nuts, dude. Like, it, like, shake your fillings out
Yeah.
violent. And, like, I get back and, like, I get it home and the transmission bell housing is just like barely attached to the transmission and it's like two pieces and like the front half and the back half were like not tight at all. There's broken bolts. So I
Holy shit.
destroy this McLeod SFI bell housing, which is like $1,400 or something. Absolutely
Jesus.
destroy it. And like I'm blaming prospect driver Jack Davis because I got it from him. It's his fault
Yeah.
because the it's not really his fault, but like I never checked the torque between the bolts from the front half to the back half. Like
Yeah.
I just put it together, and like I've always had a vibration, but that event, like, it was insane, and
Hmm.
like, so yeah, me and Vinny, dope friends. I go and I have another non SFI bell housing. I was like, I'll just toss this in, it'll be cool, and Vinny helps me like. No, he didn't. Doesn't help me yet. I get it all apart. Realize the bell housing's just like toasted. I put the new one on. I was like, I'll do the right thing and align the bell housing
Yeah.
with offset dowels. And some bright idea in my head is like, instead of pulling them out the back, I'm gonna hammer them straight through the block because it's a through hole.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna stop it. Not the rust that built up on the backside. So I'm hammering them through, hammering them through. I got like one hit until they're out, and
Yeah.
they stop, and I was like, I just gotta hit it harder, right? It's gonna pop right through. I break the corner of the block off. I
Oh.
wreck this engine I've been using since the second Miata, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroy it, and it's like Pro-Am's in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Round two's in 2 weeks. Dude. No, round two's in 1 week. And like,
Yeah.
what do I do? And like, not long before that, a year before, I sold Joe Brown like a 6 liter that I bought
Yeah.
for like nothing. So I was like,
Yep.
Joe, like, can we come back on our deal? Like, what do we have to do? He's like, oh yeah, dude, like, let's do that. So I tossed my cam, valve springs, and all that fun stuff in. And obviously, I missed round two, which was like the big event, the big money one.
Yeah. Big payout. Yep.
Yeah, and then round three is like my car's working perfect. Like
Hmm.
it's a little slow because I added a rear sway bar, like a NASCAR style bar. It's like it's a
Yeah.
little slow, but like this car feels good. It drives good. Like there's no
Yep.
vibrations. Like we're gonna go for blood, and then like things come together, and I'm paired up against Vinny, my
Yep.
homie, dude who's been
Yep.
helping me, my title sponsor, and like we go out and dude, I don't know, like I put down a shit fucking a lead run. Well, he led first, but like we'll talk about my lead run. Uh, the second outside zone like was just set up so poorly. We kind of talked about in the last podcast. It was just set up
Yeah.
so poorly that like if you do the track right, it's wrong. So
Yeah.
like I
Yep.
I blew 4 tires off. Not really, because like I don't even know how to word this, but like where the entry is for it is that's the part I missed, but I was still 2 tires in for the rest of the corner. Like they have it
Yeah.
kind of like this is where you enter in at. So I wasn't
Yep.
really 4 tires off. I was only part of it off for part of it. And like the rest of
Yeah.
my run was money. Like it was great. And like because I was 4 tires off for 4 seconds, not even 4 seconds, like 4 milliseconds, they gave it one more time because
Yeah.
like on that run, Vinny was like straight behind me. Like I pulled
Hmm.
back to the pits. Even before they like announced the one more time, Vinny was like, "Yo, dude, like you won. Like I was driving straight behind you." I was like, "Nah, dude, no way. Like you got this." Not knowing, but I was like in my head, I was like, "Yeah, dude, like I killed that." And like they call one more time. I was like, "What?" And I get back to my pits, and like Casey Rodriguez runs up to me. He's like, "Yo, your left rear wheel is like moving like a lot." I was like, "Ah, no, dude, it's cool, it's cool." He's like, "No, dude, like you need to check that out." Like I jack it up, and like one of the bolts for the control arm is like one thread from falling off.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and like I don't have a nut, and like I spent probably 4 minutes of my time out just looking for a nut to put on this bolt. Like I get it together to the point where like I have seconds left on my time clock. Like I get back on track, my helmet isn't buckled, my seatbelt is on wrong, I'm not wearing my Hans device. I get to the
Yeah.
line, my gloves aren't on, and like I'm shaking because I'm so stressed out and annoyed
Yep.
that like I'm not gonna do good. And like my lead was dog shit, so it gave
I
Vinny
think
the win.
I feel like that's one of the hardest things about competing is like being ready, right?
Yeah.
Because it's such a time crunch, like, and like if you got other things to do, like you just it's just not enough time, so it stresses you out.
See, and like being like I'm not saying, well, Austin's my spotter. I'm not saying he's like not part of the team, but like being a one man team to work on
Yeah.
the car is like, sure, everybody who was around, like Aaron Farrell came and helped, and like Casey Rodriguez tried to help, and like it's really hard being like a one man team doing everything and then getting in the car and being ready and being in that mental space. That's
Right.
like I'm I'm ready to fight in this battle,
Yeah.
but like I wasn't ready at
Right.
all. Like I needed
Right.
probably another 3 minutes just to calm myself down.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely something to work on, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
trying to be more prepared, I guess. More prepared to be unprepared, I guess.
Yeah. But then after that event, like it was still a mad series, so I'm gonna drive with the boys. Like I'm putting down
Yeah.
lap after lap after lap, and like I'm realizing like my car's temp's not really coming down. So like I do 2 laps, I go to the hose and I would just blast the radiator until it came
Mhm.
down to like 150, and then I go 2 laps, come back and do it again. And like I knew there was kind of like an issue, but like whatever. So then the second to last like I don't know A group, I
Yeah.
go out and I was like my buddy Nick was there, and I was like, yo Nick, let's go for a ride. We go out on track and my temps just shoot 200,
Hmm.
220, and like oh blew the head gasket, came back, cap popped, and it's like that sucks. So
Yeah.
I'll put new set of head gaskets on. At that time I was like, yo, I'm buying a set of heads, AFR heads for this bad boy. Let's do
Hmm.
that. So I buy a set of heads for it, and like I bought cheap head bolts, and I think that just one of them stretched a little too much or not enough. And like
Yeah.
round 4, I'm at the track and I do my first lap and my belt comes off. My supercharger belt comes off. It's like that's weird. That's never happened before. So I come back, put a new belt on, and I go to do lap 2 and just coolant temps just to the moon. It's like
Yeah.
sick. Something was wrong.
Yeah.
So that kind of ended my season to where I am today, which put head studs on instead of bolts this time.
Yeah.
Got that even torque. Still got the AFR heads, which now we're ditched the LSA supercharger.
Yep.
We're going to the original plan with got a Torque Storm supercharger with a Gen 2 cover.
Nice.
Like if Noah would talk to me, he'd be proud. Go back to the
Yeah.
original plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's my bad luck in my story, dude.
Yeah, you definitely got quite a bit of bad luck for
Dude,
sure. But
holy dude, we've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes.
yeah.
Which we because of that we don't have to do a secondary topic. We can just
Yeah.
go into the questions if you'd like.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you have any questions for me?
Um, yeah, I got maybe one or two here. Let's do what was your most memorable drift event? Competition, fun event, doesn't matter.
Dude, memorable. They're all bad memorable. uh jeez. I don't know. Just probably my first event, dude. Just going from like knowing absolutely nothing
Yeah.
then to being like this is actually dope, and I'm not terrible at it.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
That's probably it.
Something that really sparked the passion.
Dude, yeah.
Yep. I like it. Hell yeah. Um. So I really don't have a whole lot.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We can move into the Facebook questions.
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right. Well, we're gonna answer these separately and together.
Okay.
What is your dream drift car and dream daily driver? From Matt Shuck.
You can go first.
Oh, dude, dream drift car. I've been talking about this in our group chat nonstop. It'll be my next drift car. Is I'm buying an FDR X7 with an EcoBoost swap, so I can street it and drift it. Because if you're not on the EcoBoost stuff right now, get on it, because shit's nuts. It's nuts.
That's pretty sweet.
And
Yeah.
daily driver, I'm a truck guy, dude. Like, I daily my Duramax Sierra, and it's lovely. It's
Yeah.
not very comfortable, but it's lovely. What about you?
Works. Let's see. Dream drift car. Probably be an S15 with the works.
Oh, jeez.
Pro car S15. That'd be pretty sick. Dream daily driver though. I don't really. I would say probably. I wouldn't mind a truck, I guess. Not a huge truck guy. I don't like daily driving trucks typically, but I'm trying to think of a good daily. I don't know. Something fun to drive, I guess. Wouldn't have to be anything crazy.
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
I don't know. We get all of our fun out on the track, so it's like I don't
Yeah.
need a fun daily driver.
I want comfort.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want someone to drive me around.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
All right, our boy Austin asked us both a question, and his question is, why do you hate me?
I love Austin, okay? Don't hate you.
See, I do too, but you kind of should be here on this podcast instead of whatever the fuck you're doing. I don't care what you're doing.
True.
I love you, but stop not helping us.
Yeah. Love us more.
Yeah, love
us
it-
more.
Love us harder. All right, Colin Gillespie says, Colin, if I butchered your last name, I'm sorry, brother. Why do you still deal with that junky V8?
Whoa, buddy. Those are fighting words.
You can start on this
Hey.
one.
You know, 4.8 has been so good. It's been so good to me. Like, I can't even hate it one bit. I put it through so much abuse. Like, it just keeps ticking. I love it.
Dude, same. Like, my 4.8 lasted years. Like, multiple years in the Miata and then multiple years in the BMW. And it would still be in the car if I wasn't wild with a hammer.
Yeah.
Like, 4.8 is better than a 5.3, better than a 6-liter. I don't care what anybody says.
They sound so good.
Dude.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
But yeah, they're cheap, right?
They're
I paid 100
cheap?
I think I paid $150 for mine.
Dude, yeah, I
Oh.
bought my first 4.8 from LKQ for $300 with a warranty.
That's legit.
All right,
yeah.
your boy Joel Merritt asks.
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna answer this one for you because he says, "Are you and Adam scared of multiple timing chains and multiple cams?" The answer is yes. Yes, we are.
Yes.
Because we can't go to a parts store and be like, "I need 14 timing chains for my whatever V8 or whatever stupid engine."
Simplicity is key.
Dude, keep it simple, stupid.
Yes. Yes.
All right, and Jason Martin asks, what are your plans for drifting? Will you do more grassroots stuff and build a secondary car, or just keep it keep trying to progress with the pro stuff?
So I actually really do want to buy a seat time car, just for doing Mat Series and you know big Indian events, stuff like that. Um, Club Loose too, but because the S14 is going to be getting pretty expensive to drive, so it's definitely going to need to. And I love driving, so like I love competing, and I just love cranking laps with the boys. So you know, it's definitely going to need like a stock Z or something eventually.
See, my plans now, if my bad luck continues to be really bad luck, that I will send this BMW to hell. No, I'll sell it and work on something else. Just
Yeah.
maybe not like pro-am style comp stuff, but like stuff I can just bang out a couple laps and win a trophy and go
Hmm.
home for.
Yeah.
I just want to keep the comp stuff fun because
Yes.
there's times when it's not fun and I want to strangle myself.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely can get to a point where it's more frustrating than fun for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And we have one more Facebook question. Bar Chigus asks, any advice to those who are starting out?
Well, I think you said it just a few minutes ago. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, and don't give up when you suck, because everybody sucks at the beginning.
Yes. Yes.
And if
If you're struggling, having a hard time linking the track, ask somebody.
yeah,
Some people will ride with you. Some people will watch. They'll give you pointers.
yeah, everybody's gonna go not out of their way, but they're gonna go and help you like
Yeah.
do better things. Oh,
Yeah. Everybody wants to see everybody do better. So.
all right. She has 3 questions.
Oh, okay.
Next one is, what is your favorite place you've driven, and where would you like to drive that you haven't?
Honestly, Midvale's probably one of my favorite tracks.
Thank you. Thank
I love
you.
that track.
It's the best.
It is. It's my home track too, so like, I love that track. Probably the first real track I ever actually driven to.
Yeah.
So, where would I like to drive? Mid Pond.
Dude. Especially with clutch
Yeah.
kickers being back at Mid
Yeah.
Pond. That'd be
Yeah,
insane.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to drive Mid Pond.
I'm going to agree with you on Midvale because Midvale is freaking insane. And
Yep.
the favorite place I've driven is Englishtown, but the kart track. I love the kart track. It's like, it's not difficult. And like,
Mhm.
sure, the ground's like a cheese grater, but like, there's no real penalties to going off.
Yeah.
And you could just bang doors with your bros, and like, it's fast, and like, then it's slow, and then it's fast again, and it's just perfect. And it just works. And I just love Englishtown and the atmosphere and the people, and like, it's the best. Go drive Englishtown. Like,
Yeah.
no
We
other truck
definitely gotta
matters.
Get out there.
All right, and our
Yep.
last question. I don't even want to ask it. Commando or thong? That's it.
Commando.
Yeah, I don't want things in my butt or my
Nah.
butt crack. That's weird.
Flop.
I
I
agree
want
with
it
you on
awesome.
that. Holy shit, dude! This has been a trip.
Yeah. Good one.
I'll double check Instagram to see if there's any more questions. There was one that was. Oh, uh, Gavin asked, best podcast in 2025, and if you don't answer correctly, then I will stop this right here.
Best podcast for 2025?
Yeah.
Like as in person we're gonna have on?
No,
Or...
just what is your opinion on the best podcast in 2025? There's only one right answer.
Oh, it's this one.
Goddamn right it is. It's the only right answer. Our podcast is the best
Yeah.
podcast.
Definitely.
Now for plans for next episode is we don't have any plans.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume we're gonna try and have Vinny and Austin on.
And if
Do
that if that doesn't happen, then next episode will just be a chat, like
yeah,
topic chat. No getting to know anybody, any of
Yeah.
that kind of weird stuff. I think we're just gonna talk with the boys.
I like it. Yeah,
All right, so thank you for watching or listening. Preferably, I hope you're listening. And you know what? Let's make this interesting. First person to message me hot dog, I will Venmo you $1. Let's see if you made it this far. One whole dollar.
one whole dollar.
So yeah, thank you for listening. I am Josh Leatherbarrow. You can find me places on the internet. And this is my co-host, the wonderful Adam Bergner. Thank you for joining me today, and good night.
Yeah.